Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and this is Éamon de Valera. A look at Éamon de Valera in video games on the 50th anniversary of his death. So I'm going back to Civ 5 to take a look at a mod which adds de Valera to the game. I'm going to start with the bare-bone basics before I actually take a look at de Valera. We will found the city of Dublin. We got some jaunty music for de Valera. He'd have enjoyed that. This is my first return to Civ 5 in a very long time. The last time I got an achievement was a few days ago when I added this mod. The last time before that was 2016. My general starting strategy: scout, then a warrior, then a worker. And for the research... yeah, trapping looks to be the direction that we're going to need to go in. I usually try to head for writing. Yeah, we'll go for pottery first of all, and we'll see from there. Now, there's probably a better way of bringing this up, but very quickly we'll take a look at de Valera. Ireland, freedom to achieve freedom, which of course is a very famous quote that Éamon de Valera never made. That is a quote from Michael Collins, that the Anglo-Irish Treaty didn't provide the freedom that all nations desire, but the freedom to achieve freedom. And what this does is that we earn culture equal to the gold generated from trade with civilizations that we've denounced. And we get +1 delegate to the World Congress per civilization, denouncing us while not at war. So what we need to do is make people hate Éamon de Valera. Wow, that's going to be difficult. Our unique unit is the modern era Óglaigh na hÉireann, replaces the Great War infantry. Heals faster the more civs you've denounced. During peace treaties, generates culture. And our unique building is the Shannon Scheme Plant, the Ardnacrusha Power Plant, one of the greatest industrial developments in modern Irish history, which Éamon de Valera had absolutely nothing to do with. This was built in the late 1920s, a few years before de Valera came to power in 1932. The Ardnacrusha Power Plant generates culture while it's being built, so the longer this thing takes to build, the more culture it generates. It's just like the Children's Hospital in Dublin. The more times it's delayed, the more it gets written about in the paper. And while it exists, 5% of production generated in the city is shared with other cities you control. So some fairly interesting choices there for de Valera. We're going to continue exploring around. I've actually just noticed we have a lot of citrus in the region. We have a city-state. And we have a lot of citrus, so getting the calendar out and generating some money, that's going to be an idea. Now, I'm also trying to think, who would it be interesting to find? What characters, what other nations would it be interesting for us to find? Obviously, we'll say Elizabeth of England. Other than that, then, I'm trying to think. There's William of Orange, but it's an earlier William of Orange than the one that's relevant to Ireland. Boudica? The Celts? de Valera meet the Celts? Napoleon? Washington? I don't know who would be kind of cool to pop up. So we're going to bring our warrior back, begin defending. We'll get another one out, because barbarians, damn and blast them all to hell. Now, I was complaining about the Shannon hydroelectric plant, the Ardnacrusha power scheme, but we have a fairly solid river to put buildings down on.
Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's the narrator is a Liam Neeson impersonator. When I started this up for the first time, I was like, wait, is this Liam Neeson? What in the good name of God? Oliver Cromwell? Well, this is an absolute catastrophe. Oliver Cromwell. Now, Jerusalem has already met somebody, so I'm presuming there he is Parliamentarian spearmen. Now we can found a pantheon. We've enough faith to found a pantheon. I don't really have much of an interest in founding a religion. So culture from shrines. Culture from pastures. So I think what we're going to do is take the oral tradition of the ancient Gaels and go with culture from plantations and try and get some plantations up on the citrus down here and up here. So we're going to need to find some allies to defend us from Cromwell, because I imagine Cromwell is going to set his sights on Ireland. We get bonuses from denouncing people. Winston Churchill, you drunken arsehole. What the hell is going on here? We have Churchill and Cromwell. If they join together, I don't know what to say. Boys, oh boys, we'll need Óglaigh na hÉireann. So again, I would much prefer to go for writing, but we're going to go for the calendar to get those plantations and get some culture. For anybody that has been playing Civ 5 for a good while, what's your strategy? Or anybody who hasn't played Civ 5 in a while?
Commands the sea.
That's helpful.
Command of everything.
So what's your go-to strategy for starting? Like I've said, mine is to get a scout, get a worker. No, get a scout, get a warrior, get a worker, and then I'd be hoping, once I can start picking policies, to pick the one that will eventually tradition. So we're gonna be keeping our empire small. I think the next thing I'm going to need to do is rush out a settler. Michael Collins! This is kind of awkward. The ghost of Michael Collins, but possibly, I think he's in Killarney. With a foggy dew playing in the background. The revolutionary leader of the Irish nation. No, I'm the revolutionary leader of the Irish nation. Come and let me tell you about the course of life and labour and how it reminds me of a long journey I once took on the railway. Mick, have you been drinking again? Look, Michael, I know we've had our problems in the past, but we need to put those aside. Oliver Cromwell and Winston Churchill are here. Ooh, that's not great. We've the barbarians, that's fine. I don't mind them. But it looks like Michael Collins has elephants and is parked not too far from my border with a slightly different shade of green to the one that I've chosen. Galway. Michael Collins has been forced back to Galway. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. People that like to smile the most. Éamon de Valera at the bottom. Yeah, somebody's going to be saying typical dev, never smiling. Angry dour man. We have a lot of people around us that I don't like. We're going to need to get a city down. We're going to adopt the tradition policy. This is the main one that I wanted for. The free culture buildings in the first 4 cities and a good chunk of growth coming out of Dublin. So yeah, everything's going to be Dublin-centric. Isn't that the way? Liberty. I do like Liberty for the pyramids, but then I end up with too many workers and I bankrupt myself. Cromwell wants to set up an embassy. I don't think we should antagonize the parliamentarians just yet. And he's going to give me some gold. We will accept. Now he knows where our capital is, though. And the predecessors of Óglaigh na hÉireann are deployed for the first time. I should send the scout up here further and see, is there a better location? I'm just seeing Collins is cutting across into our river. That's my river. Now, we're only 3 turns away, but this is actually a great-ish location for another city, because we would get these citrus plants. So we're maybe a bit late. I'm falling behind. I've made bad mistakes. So I'm sending what few warriors we have down to deal with this region. Oh my god, it's going from worse to worse. William of Orange, the actual William of Orange, who invaded Ireland and won his great victory at the Battle of the Boyne. Well, this is going from worse to worse. Where the hell are these people coming from? There he is with his spearmen. This is like a villain's gallery of Irish history. So we are indeed being told to head up in this direction. I'm going to actually have to park them. This is terrible. I'm going to have to park them for a moment and see if I can take out the dudes in this region. So we've managed to take out the encampment, but not before more archers appeared, which I think will probably take out that warrior. I think this would be a better place to plant ourselves. We have, I was going to say fish, sheep. I know what those are. John F. Kennedy. We could make an ally out of this man. Welcome to America. No, you're visiting Ireland. This is early to mid 1963. You're visiting Ireland. It's a great day for the nation. I was hoping to try and bring the settlers down and see if it would pinpoint a region down here to plant them. I think we're going to have to go in the opposite direction, so we're wasting a lot of time. So much time that Mick Collins is, you divil, Mick, you divil. So instead of being offered money, JFK offers us an embassy for an embassy. And look at where the devil is planted in Washington, way down in that direction. We can fire on the enemy. That's a terrible thing to say about Michael Collins. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Collins has established Wexford. And here's the archers that caused us so much anarchy trying to get down in this region. So I am indeed being told that... I was being told that this was a good region to settle. And I'm still going to settle here, even though Wittenberg have taken those horses. So we'll found Kilkenny. We'll get some. We'll get a good chunk of citrus, and I am thinking of trying to buy out these regions already, because we need the production. That's going to be our big kind of deficit down here. Basil Brooke the Pious of Northern Ireland. Oh, this is a strange collection. This is truly a villain's gallery of Irish history. And JFK. We're generating a good chunk of money, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a tile to cut Mick Collins off from those deer. He doesn't need them. He can go away. William of Orange wants to make a declaration of friendship with Éamon de Valera. We can't make everyone hate us, so yes, let us work together. And it's entirely possible that the very close relationship between ourselves and Michael Collins might lead to blows at some stage. So we're gonna have to find some friends from somewhere. And might as well. I saw Orange, so I thought that was William of Orange. Nope, that's Belfast. El Dorado. Well, that is impressive. And we get a ton of culture if it is worked. So I was thinking about trying to put another city down in this direction. And somebody else was thinking the same thing. Northern Ireland.
Are preserved and reposed.
We have gotten the Great Library, however, which gives us a free tech. I should have probably held off on philosophy, but you know what? We can take drama and poetry.
What is drama but life with the dull bits cut out?
Yeah, well said that, man.
He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened.
There we go. We have a settlement down here that's going to work El Dorado. The devils. We're going to build a road to Kilkenny, and those workers will be finished soon, so I might actually send them down to work on the stuff around here. What's this? Oliver Cromwell offering horses to a Catholic. Why, that's unusual. I thought you were against that sort of thing, Oliver. So we have enough culture for a new social policy, which will be legalism. Provide a free culture building in your first 4 cities. So I'm bringing some military units down here to prepare a push in this direction to try and form a new settlement. But the problem is we're a bit short of money because we're putting up a lot of areas, but we're going to get culture from these and we're going to get something else from them. Oh yeah, money. Wittenberg, god damn you. Kill stealing bastards. I'm not entirely sure what my next goal should be. Probably theology for one of the great buildings, but what I'm going to do is go for... It's a terror that Éamon de Valera has not yet discovered mathematics. He's not going to be happy with that. I'm going to go for construction to get the lumber mills, because we do have a good chunk of places they could be put down, so we have to get through masonry first of all. So Collins has completed the statue of Zeus.
Happy are those whose walls already rise.
They're very happy. And we've also connected up Kilkenny to Dublin. We've had what I think is the first religion founded, the Protectorate. Oliver Cromwell has established Protestantism in the holy city of London. We're in a position to open a new social policy. I would like to go for aesthetics. For the writers, artists and musicians being generated 25% faster. I'm not actually generating many points there at the moment. Kilkenny will hopefully be our artistic centre, so I'm going to go for monarchy, +1 gold and -1 unhappiness for every 2 citizens in the capital. Is that -1 happiness or -1 unhappiness? It was -1 unhappiness. I wasn't sure whether that was going to increase happiness or decrease happiness. And it was maybe a good idea that I took that social policy, because I've just built the Oracle in Dublin. I'm trying to convert it into our science centre. We've also got construction. And that means that I can get a free social policy, so we might as well take the landed elite, increase population growth and food in the capital, which will actually finish that off and unlock the 15% growth and a free aqueduct in your first 4 cities. Another religion has been founded, Catholicism, in the city of Galway. Good man, Mick. So we have some spearmen created in the city of Dublin, and they have a promotion. Because I have a barracks built there, we will go with the rough fighting and send them to the front line. Aesthetics will improve our ability to generate culture, and that is very much what we are going for. My, all these Englishmen want to give me their horses. Horses and gold for oranges. Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. And there we go, we have a great writer born in Kilkenny. And it's Muirish Sheehy, if I am correct. What writers, if you were to start adding Irish great writers to this, Joyce, I suppose that's not really that difficult a question, Joyce, Beckett, Yeats, Flann O'Brien, that's who I'd have in there. I'm generating a good chunk of money from the oranges, mad for the oranges is the Englishman. I suppose, would Churchill need them for his drinks? Would he put citrus or a bit of an orange peel or a slice in some of his drinks? I've created a caravan. Now, there's actually a couple of places that want trade routes. So, Jerusalem wants a trade route. I could actually send it, we'll say, up to Wexford. And then antagonize Michael Collins. But for now, we'll see what we can do. So 4 gold in science from Galway. And then if I was to denounce him, I would get 4 culture. Did Quebec want a... Quebec wanted a trade route. Do you know what? We'll see if we can send them to Quebec. If we can, that's the direction that we'll go. Quebec for 5 gold. JFK. Everyone wants my oranges. JFK, how could I say no to you? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Horses for oranges to Northern Ireland. I'm not going to say anything. Just, yeah, accept. Yeah. It took us a while, but we finally have a settler in place to benefit from this area. We will found the city of Limerick. Oh, well, well, look at this. The boundary commission debacle. The settling of your people near my sovereign Basil. There's a goddamn wall in between us. A peace wall, Basil. For now, the 50% excess happiness added to the amount of culture that could be spent on these policies. Do you know, I think I'll go for that one first of all. Now, we're not doing great on the happiness. We'll get some coliseums built shortly. He has absolutely nothing to give us, but the man is desperate for oranges. 168 gold. The man is desperate for oranges. And I did mean to say that we are rapidly approaching a golden age. And here it is, the golden age of Ireland, 300 AD, just before the arrival of Christianity. A great scientist has been born in Dublin. We could have him construct an academy, which I think would be worth more than spending him to research civil service, which is 9 turns away. So I think we're gonna put him down and have him construct an academy right here. Well now, Basil Brooke the Pious of Northern Ireland, given out to me, shouting across the peace wall at me, and now he wants to go to war with Winston Churchill. I'm not really in a position. I don't think De Valera is going to be going into any wars. We're going to be playing it neutral. We're going to be building up the strength of the IRA to generate culture. We'll have them going to dances, to Céilís, but we won't have them going to wars. We have no interest in this arrangement. Blackadder? Wait, no, this isn't Blackadder. Daniel O'Connell, the Great of Ireland? But no, I'm Éamon de Valera, the Great of Ireland. Hello, lad, and welcome. I am Daniel O'Connell, the Liberator. Come, friend, pet my doggo, and let's have a whale of a time. That is indeed, that's an actual quotation, a historical quotation from the real Daniel O'Connell, the Liberator. And that's his house. Down in Carsiveen. That's where he lived. That's his house in Carsiveen. Well, there we go. Now, I could try and keep this place going, generating barbarians to keep making Monaco happy, but you know what? All good things come to an end. There is Monaco generating additional... What are we getting? 6 culture. I haven't even started denouncing people, and we are generating culture like mad. It's the oranges. Is it the oranges? It is. It's the oranges and the Pantheon. For once, a man who doesn't want oranges, and of course it would be Daniel O'Connell who doesn't want the oranges. He's looking for the marble that we're getting out of Limerick. Go on. We Love Dev Day has started in Dublin. It now demands silk, and we can see Cork. Daniel O'Connell has his capital in Cork. That won't make Michael Collins very happy. Mad for the oranges. Our caravan has returned to Dublin, and I was hoping to move to Kilkenny and get into one of the larger Northern Ireland cities, but we can't. So for now, I'm going to establish a trade route with Lisburn, which generates 3 gold per turn. And then I'm going to click on Lisburn. I'm going to discuss something. You should mention that your expansion has worried several of your officials. Well, how about we publicly denounce you? Now at the moment we're generating 35 culture, and I think when that trade route is established, that should hopefully increase. And there we go, at the start of the next turn, I built a building in Limerick, which I think increased happiness to 36, and we're now up to 39, so I'm not entirely sure if that is functioning. I'm happy to denounce Northern Ireland anyway, whether it's actually working or not. And after a lengthy period of time of doing this manually, I'm gonna put the scout into auto-explore. Let him away off, and the first thing he does is finds a Kilimanjaro. Our happiness has fallen because JFK has taken away our gems. But he's willing instead to give us gold and iron, which I don't think we have access to. In return for oranges, go on. Oi mate, story horse. You want to cement this epic friendship of ours? Again, it's amazing how well they've caught the mannerisms and speech of Daniel O'Connell. Sure. Now I have just built my 4th and what I expect will be my final settler, and it is telling me to put them up in this location. Poor owl Wittenberg is going to be completely surrounded. Now that is putting it quite close to London, and I'm not too sure how Cromwell will react to that. I was going to say he seems to only have one major city, but there does seem to be one over there, so I'm not entirely too sure what is actually past Budapest. There seems to be a big old chunk of a rock there. We can't push down in this direction. There's not really much of a reason to push back in this direction, just sheep and sand. Just sheep and sand. So I'm thinking of dropping it here. I share your convictions that Northern Ireland only causes problems for the civilized empires of the world. Like you and me, Daniel, like you and me. Perhaps the combination of our denouncements will teach them a lesson. Good man yourself. Monfar. This is how much the man wants oranges. He has denounced Northern Ireland to keep the oranges flowing. There you go, they don't call him William of Oranges for nothing. It's time for a new social policy. This one's quite powerful. I'm going to hold off on this one. We're instead going to get a great artist. And here he is outside of Dublin, so we're going to have him create a great work and place it in the Palace of Dublin. Ah, St. Francis, they'll love that. Dev will love that, so he will. I've denounced this lad. The only thing maintaining the peace between us is a peace wall. Still wants the oranges. And hi, while there's money to be made, I'll still keep giving them out. Would it be a better idea maybe to move one square in that direction, and in the middle of the desert, right on the verge of London? I hope it's Derry. Even if it's not, I might rename it Derry. Lifford. Derry. Derry, London. Derry, London. Uh-oh, somebody's not happy. If you continue to expand your empire in lands I feel are mine, it can only ruin the possibility of friendship between us. Sorry. Won't do it again, because I don't think I'll be building any more cities. I think that is now the full extent of our empire. Now, I haven't been paying great attention to the city-states, so we have a religious city-state. Wittenberg, right here in the middle of us, causing trouble, is religious, so I haven't been paying much attention. So like I said, I didn't realize Monaco was culture-focused, and I also didn't realize that Kuala Lumpur was culture-focused. But they're actually on the verge of... they want us to generate a great writer, and we are on the verge of doing so. So there we go. Virgil has been born in Kilkenny, which I think is going to make Kuala Lumpur very happy. Just as we've lost our friendship with Monaco, we'll get that back. Don't you worry. We'll get that back. We'll create a great work. Oh no, being so close to London, Derry has converted to Protestantism. Now, I totally forgot, I actually have a spy. A spy has been unveiled. Where do we want to send said spy? Let's send him to Birmingham as either a diplomat or a spy. So this is actually something new. This is something I hadn't seen before. Diplomats will automatically conduct propaganda that provides a boost to tourism output to the target civilization. Wait, did they get more tourism or do I? Basil Brooke has denounced me? What did I do? You'll pay for this in time. Now, I'm still waiting to get wonders built in 2 cities, so I'm going to hold off on aesthetics and start working on rationalism. So this is one of the other ones I'm going to go for science. It's what De Valera would have wanted. We will send some of our new knights, which I've just promoted from charioteers, we will send them down to watch over these Northern Irish missionaries. I actually forget what religion Northern Ireland developed. Confucianism. So we have Protestantism in London, we have Hinduism in Washington, Confucianism in Belfast, Catholicism in Galway, and Buddhism, which seems to be the main one, in The Hague. So Washington, Hinduism is second, and poor old Mick Collins isn't doing great with the old Catholicism. More missionaries from Northern Ireland heading for Kilkenny. These Northern Irish are really pushing their religion on us. Oliver Cromwell, where are you going with all of those soldiers, Oliver Cromwell? People have been trading me for open borders to push their religion, and they want oranges. Who am I to say no to a man with shaky hands and red eyes who wants oranges? He's going to give me horses. Sure, I will accept. I have 14 horses from people who need oranges. I didn't fully understand this, and it's only recently that I've started building knights. We'll have an entire chivalric order built on oranges. So we've gone for rationalism, and we're generating a lot of science, but I'm not really all that pushed about science, because we're actually doing so well in getting through it. Patronage for city-state friendship would cause our influence to degrade 25% slower. It would open up the Forbidden Palace, which I know Churchill has built. So if we want to try and keep access to some of those places around us, we might switch to patronage for a minute. So we're going to kind of jump back and forth. Probably not a great idea, but yeah. We are generating a lot of culture. Now it's going to take a long time to get back up to that. Cities we all like to visit. Birmingham is on top, ahead of Kilkenny and Dublin. Do you know what? The one man who didn't come looking to me for oranges, Daniel O'Connell came looking to me for oranges. The one man that didn't come looking to me for oranges when I had plenty of them, Mick Collins. And he's now prepared to give me 30 gold, 2 per turn iron, because he knows I don't have any. And all he wants is a bit of stuff to be making the place smell nice. Go on, Mick, go on. Kuala Lumpur was where we were going. Do you know what? I'm going to send this lad to London for the money. Do we need the money? I don't think there are any nearby cities that need trade routes. So do you know what? We might as well.
I live and love in God's peculiar light.
Don't we all? 25% culture in all cities contains 2 slots for great works of art. Now we can have a great work of art created in Limerick. St. George killing the dragon. There you go. We'll just hold that up and point it across at the English. The enemy has been spotted near Kilkenny. A trade route has been plundered. This is a development that we have not heard of or seen in quite a lengthy period of time. So our trade route to Belfast, we're going to have to deploy some knights. I'm not going to lie, I'm pissed off with Northern Ireland for taking the land around El Dorado and then not working it. Do you think they did this on purpose? Do you think they did this on purpose? I wouldn't put it beyond them. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to use my scientist to
It is a newspaper's
help
duty to
contribute
news and
to
raise hell.
founding the Irish press. And one of the reasons that I wanted to get that scientist to discover whatever he discovered was because we can now build Dublin Zoo. The World Congress has been founded. Ireland has discovered every civilization in the world. To commemorate this occurrence, leaders from around the world will come together in the First Congress of Dublin in 30 turns to begin discussing international diplomacy. As civilizations advance into later eras, the Congress will change and new hosts may be chosen. So we'll get 2 extra delegates, and I think we'll get an extra delegate. Well, we'll have 2 delegates, and then we'll have an extra one because we're being denounced by Northern Ireland. So I think that's the way it's going to work. For the first meeting, that could be very powerful for De Valera. And we have the ability to put forward a proposal. Now, it's going to be something culture-related. So, arts funding, strangely enough, De Valera would propose to decrease the generation of great scientists to shove up the generation of writers, artists, and musicians. And Ireland, the Anglo-Dutch, and Great Britain would be grateful. So what we'll do is go for the arts funding. So that's what we're going to propose, and we will commit our proposal. And we have a bit of an unexpected development. Oliver Cromwell has declared war on Budapest. Budapest is on the verge of falling, but Oliver Cromwell needs oranges to celebrate. So he's going to give us 4 gold per turn, and he wants open borders. Presumably to continue pushing Protestantism, which has reached Derry and Limerick. Speaking of, he's very happy with what we're doing in the First Congress. Delighted to hear, William of Orange. Delighted to hear. More goddamn horses! Fine. We've destroyed this encampment, and hopefully that will open up the trade route to Belfast that passes by the unused El Dorado. Northern Ireland has managed to break us away from the religion of Michael Collins. They have made us Confucianist, along with Kilkenny, while Limerick and Derry are Protestant. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't know how these scouts are surviving. They were out at sea, they kept getting mauled by the ship that just went away off, and I brought them ashore, and right next to them spawned this thing. So with any luck, I'll be able to get them into the lands of Michael Collins. Mary Shelley has been born in Kilkenny. I'm going to send her up to Dublin to write a few words for us.
Learn from me, if not by my precepts, at least by my example. How dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge, and how much happier that man is who believes his native town to be the world, than he who aspires to become greater than his nature will allow.
That is a fantastic paragraph to have for Éamon de Valera, who described the television when he presented the very first broadcast, the opening of Radio Telefishéireann. It wasn't 66. Was it 61? I can't remember when RTE actually went on the air. Radio Telefishéireann, the Irish semi-state broadcaster, but he described the television as being more dangerous than the atomic bomb. And Flann O'Brien's The Third Policeman is supposed to be the fact that the bikes keep disappearing. If you know, you know. It's this idea of De Valera's Ireland, keeping people bereft of knowledge, keeping them bereft of the ability to go places and experience things and learn things. So the fact that the television could broadcast, it definitely wasn't 66, because the first broadcast from Europe was in 63, and I think that was shown on RTE. As in the first broadcast from the United States to Europe, I should say. So the idea that the television could broadcast from all around the world, and it wasn't just what you learned in the local school and the local pub. Very fitting, there you go. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein gets the longest discussion of De Valera and his politics so far. Now, I haven't managed to get any wonders built in Derry, but we have gotten a musician. I don't think I have in Dublin any slots for works of music. Nope. So my intention was to focus great artist points all in the same area. So I built the Sistine Chapel here, but I don't believe that's giving great artist points. So that was my kind of mistake, and that's something I forgot about. I wanted these buildings for the great artists. Not all of the wonders give great artist points. That was my bit of a mistake. So I should have been probably focusing most of the wonders that don't give great artist points, focusing those in Dublin. So we have our 2 delegates from being the host, and we lost a delegate because the denouncement that we're getting from Basilbrook doesn't impact us anymore. How the hell do you have 3? 2 from World Wonders and 1 from membership. You divil. So he's probably going to vote for the World's Fair, which is what he's going for. We will commit our delegates. And so we are informed, and I'm a bit surprised, that arts funding was supported by Great Britain. Great Britain suggested World's Fair and did not vote for it. It got a yay from America and a nay from the Protectorate, and everybody else pretty much voted for arts funding. So after all of that, we're going to propose a World's Fair. We have another great scientist in Dublin, and I'm going to use him to speed up the rate at which we research rifling. Because I would like to try and push for the culture building IRA. Oh no, horses from Winston Churchill ended. Now I only have 18. And like 3 knights, if not more. I think there's more over here somewhere.
Welcome to the industrial era.
So they're entirely possible. Éamon de Valera on the boat, leaving New York, where he was born, heading away off to Ireland at about 2 years of age. Now, we're actually generating a good chunk of happiness at the moment, but I'm still going to put down the Circus Maximus in Dublin to get +5 happiness and 1 culture. Now that we have a diplomat there, we have a view on the great city of Belfast. And we see it's got some ships, and it's got some musketmen, and it's got a good chunk of trebuchets. So I think it's only fitting that we publicly denounce Northern Ireland. I'm still not sure if that's actually added any culture, so I'm not too sure. Right. So our culture has just jumped from 140 to 175. I'm not too sure, is this from the denunciation, but boys oh boys, that's a good chunk of culture. Basilbrook has declared war on Winston Churchill. And in this dire hour of need, Churchill says to his nation, they will eat oranges on the beach. They will eat orange. I forget the rest of that speech. They're oranges. Doesn't care. Northern Ireland is invading Britain. Doesn't care. Wants oranges. Go on. Do you know what? Go on. Have them. Now you'll notice we're making money in Dublin because I've slightly bankrupted myself buying amphitheatres in Derry and Limerick, where we're building Machu Picchu at the moment, because I need an opera house in both areas to build the Hermitage in Dublin the way that I can put Jan Vermeer's art in there. I also have a musician who's doing nothing at the moment. I might just have them do a concert, because I don't actually have any available music slots for them at the moment. We have discovered archaeology. Oh no, somebody has taught the Irish how to remember the past. So we now have a chunk of archaeological sites. We've won, at least, that have popped up around the place. This is a bit of a mechanic that I haven't dealt with in so long, I've half forgotten it. But Éamon de Valera is going to become an archaeologist. The Dublin Institute of Advanced Studies that he founded in the mid to late 30s had 2 chairs: theoretical physics and Celtic studies. So I'm subscribed to them on YouTube, and every once in a while you'll get like a video on tanistry and then a video on black holes, and it's like, what the hell? So I think there was one recently on something to do with theoretical physics. Maths was De Valera's background, but he studied quaternions in college. And one of the jokes at the time was that there were only 2 people in Europe who fully understood the theory of relativity. Éamon de Valera and Albert Einstein, and it was unclear if the latter actually had all that strong of a grasp on it. Oh, the devil. We're told that Michael Collins is constructing Machu Picchu. Limerick is 3 turns away. Limerick is 3 turns away. We're going to dump somebody into the workshop and see if we can go for a production focus, which turns us down to 2. If Michael Collins beats me by a turn, I will be very upset. So here we are. 1 turn left to build Machu Picchu. It will be mine in Limerick. Unless Michael Collins builds it, probably in Galway. Imagine building Machu Picchu in Tralee. Oh, thank God, we got it. We got it. There it is. Sitting, looking over Limerick and the cows and the sheep and the bit of silver that Limerick is well known and famous for. They've finally taken El Dorado, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be fitting if I was friends with Great Britain, if we were allies when that war started, that I would swoop down and take El Dorado for myself. So Ireland, the Anglo-Dutch and Great Britain voted to ban chocolate, and a ton of people voted for the World's Fair, so we got the 2 of them. Okay. It's of absolutely no value to me whatsoever. We're just going to go for cultural heritage sites. Each world wonder provides +3 culture to its city. Doesn't make a difference. We'll commit it. Here is our scout on Auto Explore. At the moment, they do not have open borders with Great Britain. Here is Birmingham, belonging to Winston Churchill. Here is Northern Ireland, and we're not too sure what has happened in between. There is peace in our time between Winston Churchill and Basil Brooke. Daniel O'Connell comes to us, asking for friendship. We have been told that Northern Ireland has denounced the Protectorate. Now, to get to the Protectorate, they have to get through us. We will make friends with Daniel O'Connell in these desperate times. Daniel, your house isn't looking great. And indeed, we are beginning to see musketmen and trebuchets moving from Lisburn to our border. Now, unless they're trying to actually cross, because like I said, this is the only place they can get across, well, they'd have to go up and around. If I manage to drive in too many forces in this region. And for 12 turns, an archaeological dig will be conducted on the new front line. It's time for another social policy, and like I said, we're going to go for the one that will give us 25% of what our allied city-states produce. I'm not too sure. We get a small bit of a boost at the moment. And we've also gotten a new writer, Marcel Proust, who will hopefully get a new work of writing in Dublin on the next turn. Daniel O'Connell has entered the Industrial Age. And with O'Connell's entrance into the Industrial Age comes a reconfiguring of the World Congress. So it'll be 3 delegates for the host civilization, 2 for others, and +1 per city-state ally. And we now have a special session to, I believe, to elect a new host. So we're going to nominate... I think we will nominate... How about ourselves? And dump all our votes in there. And there we go. Ireland remains the host. And after misplacing Marcel Proust, I had him over here. He wasn't close enough to Dublin to write a great work, turn it into a paper airplane and throw it at the city. He is now, though. Hell's bells, Michael Collins, thank you very much for telling me that there is a proposal to ban silver before the World Congress. That would be not great for us, not great for Limerick. I'm going to ask Collins to vote no on banning silver, and will I give him something? There you go. Good man yourself. Now, we have also managed to plunder ancient era Irish artifacts. Artifact will be placed in the nearest great work of art slot. Artifact provides +2 culture and 2 tourism. Or we could have a landmark on the border. Nah, we'll go with an Irish artifact. Winston Churchill has actually just beaten us into the modern era, so he's gone ahead of us. We have 2 artists just outside Dublin, and with the recent building of the Hermitage, I can actually have them create great works and place them there. Daniel O'Connell arrives to laugh at us because I forgot to actually contribute anyone to the World's Fair thing, and John F. Kennedy won. And Daniel O'Connell has come to laugh at us. The Protectorate. So the Protectorate have a fairly low culture base. We have exceeded them. It's going to be tough to... America is actually falling. Great Britain has a very heavy culture. So the next one would be the Anglo-Dutch. And I think I'm going to have to actually start trading with the Anglo-Dutch to try and push the culture in that direction. And we're also being told... So I wanted to know who enacted this. Winston Churchill. Banning silver. Churchill, this is not a good idea. This is not a good idea, my man. Not a good idea at all. And we have discovered a big heap of aluminium, which will be used to build Ordna Crusher. I can't tell you how tempting this deal is. Winston Churchill has come to Éamon de Valera and said, Northern Ireland, it can be yours. Just join me in wiping them off the face of the planet. We don't trust Churchill, not since he tried to ban our supplies of delicious, delicious silver. He's clearly drunk. We have no interest in this arrangement. Tchaikovsky has been born in Derry. I would like to place him in the capital, but we have no more slots for music, so we're going to have him compose his great ode in Derry. And we can assign delegates to the World Council. We didn't get as many as I wanted together. We have a grand total of 4. I could not care less about cultural heritage sites. We will commit our delegates. And the bid to enact a ban on silver has failed. Everyone voted against it. Great Britain voted in favour of it. Okay. So Great Britain and the Anglo-Dutch. And down in Limerick, which is becoming the financial centre of the empire, I'm first of all going to build the East India Company, which will give us increased gold, and then I'm going to look at getting the stock exchange up and running. Down in Limerick, we can construct a landmark improvement. We can get a British artifact or a barbarian artifact. What's the difference, says you? Do you know what? We'll go for a barbarian artifact. So we've just finished building Oxford University in Dublin, which gives us access to a free tech. And I think we could go for flight. We'll go for the radio. Because Broadway will give us access to those music slots that we need.
A single death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic.
There you go. With those happy, inspiring words, Ireland has entered the modern era. I think we're the second nation to do so. We're still behind Britain, though. Well, 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 look at this. Winston Churchill and William of Orange have both declared war on Basilbrook at the same time. William of Orange just asked us for open borders, which they did not need, but okay. Now that we've entered the modern era, it is time for Ireland to pick an ideology, and there's some really good stuff here. The worst thing is freedom. We'd only get one free tenant because Britain has already adopted, and the thing is, at level 3, you get 34% tourism generated by cities with a broadcast tower. That would be fantastic. +1 culture from each great work. This would be the one that I go for. The rate at which great people are born is increased by 25%. If we look at order, so we have that one as well at level 1. At level 2, I suppose party leadership isn't great. 34% tourism to other order civilizations. I don't see a great one at level 2, and then level 3, 34% tourism to civilizations with less happiness. Our happiness is dropping. I think we're going to have to take the hit. Autocracy, we'd need to be fighting somebody. Pretty much. There's a good one there, 250. Futurism, that's a good one, but yeah, we're going to have to adopt. Freedom, alongside Britain. So we only get one tenant at level 1, and it is going to be the rate at which great people are born is increased by 25%. Winston Churchill, the leader of the free world who has declared war on Northern Ireland. He says that he's pleased to see that we have also chosen to follow the path of freedom. And at the moment, the path of freedom is paved in blood because the United States have again declared war on William III, who is at war with Basilbrook, who is at war with Britain. So the entire, if we can call it, Southern Hemisphere, with the exception of Castlebar, every city in the world, in the southern part of the world, bar Castlebar, is at war. Now, we're not going to concern ourselves with that because we have gotten access to aluminium, which means that we can build Ardnacrusha in every city. So at the moment we're generating 219 culture. We begin the construction of Ardnacrusha, and it stays at 219. I believe we gain culture while it's under construction. That is the description. We'll check it out later on. We've gotten the East India Company built in Limerick, which means that we're going to generate extra revenue from trade routes that originate here, which means I'm actually going to have to build the caravanserai first, the way that we'll give additional range to our caravans. We have one of them departing. I moved it over here, heading for Budapest. We've gotten another social policy, but instead I'm going to spend it on a tenet, and I'm going to get creative expression +1 culture for each great work, but tourism is unchanged. We've just managed to research Oglig Neheran, so I'm going to upgrade one of the existing riflemen. There we have the FF badge. And over here, we have Michael Collins's unique unit, the Fenians, the bold Fenian men. Things are going well, however, the size of Great Britain, it has only 3 cities. 2 of them, at least, are way larger than anything we have, and my fear is we're not going to be able to influence them. So what I'm going to do, I'm not entirely sure whether it's working, but I will. So we have 253. I'll actually go back. Try and take a look at where that's coming from. So 8 from happiness, 39 from city-states. and 206 from cities. So if we go to London, if we discuss and denounce Oliver Cromwell. So we've denounced the Protectorate, nothing has changed as yet. Cromwell just held a concert here. Now the problem with that is that that's where a chunk of this culture has come from, has it? Maybe not. Because I know we had a bit of a tourism bonus from them holding a concert in our land. So we've just gotten another 7 culture after I started building the Ardnacrusha power plant in Limerick. I'm not too sure if that's where that came from. Now with my riflemen, what I want to check is we have 329 culture, and if I promote one of them to Óglaigh na hÉireann, culture doesn't change, so I think it has to be an actual peace treaty for these guys, or it might kick in on the next turn. We have 5 years until the 5th Congress of Dublin. And Churchill, who has 8 delegates, wants to enact Confucianism as the world religion. This will give the Holy City 50% plus tourism. But the Holy City is in Northern Ireland. So I'm not so pushed about that anymore. I don't know what we'll do with it though. We'll probably try and fight it. Now these level 2 tenets don't impress me all that much. However, I'm going to need 2 of them if I want to get to the good one at level 3. So +1 local happiness from every watermill. Specialists in city produce half the normal amount of unhappiness, and golden ages last longer. This is the one that I think I'm going to take now. So that's given us 5 happiness. The Congress is now in session. I don't care about natural heritage sites. We're going to fight Churchill. But the proposal has failed. Well, I should say the proposal has succeeded. Our attempts to defeat it have failed. Great Britain and Northern Ireland, currently at war, united together to defeat Ireland, America, the Anglo-Dutch, a different Ireland, and the Protectorate. This time we're going to propose the Thaltan Games, and this time I will remember to actually take part in the tournament. 100% tourism for 20 turns. That would be fantastic. De Valera will be absolutely delighted. A bit of home transported to Ireland for him. And what a day for Ireland this is. We have run out of horses because I have ended all of those trade agreements. If you're not going to give me something better than horses, I'm not giving you oranges. There is peace between the Anglo-Dutch and the United States, and it doesn't seem as though any territory has changed hands. And speaking of America, Walt Whitman has been born in Kilkenny. We'll send him off to Dublin and give him a pen and paper. We've just had a great engineer born in Dublin, and no better timing. I'm going to send him off to Limerick. I'm sending some forces to attack a barbarian encampment that Monaco once wiped out. Just as the guns fall silent in the Great War, there is peace between Basil Brooke and Winston Churchill. Daniel O'Connell asks us, would you agree to a friendship with the Irelads? You have some way with words, Daniel. You have some way with words. And here's that engineer I was talking about a while ago. Limerick is constructing the Eiffel Tower. I was constructing the Statue of Liberty in Kilkenny, and Great Britain got there first, so we're going to hurry up the production as much as we can. William III has just made peace with Basil Brooke, is already plotting against him, and this is how little of a time I spend looking at the borders. I didn't fully realise that actually at some stage Derry too was conquered from Northern Ireland. So now it is Mega Britain that has, where the hell is its capital? Birmingham. That has Control of El Dorado. That's not good, because that's a lot of culture output. During the very early stage of World War II, I think it was 1940-41, apparently Churchill would ring up, drunk out of his mind, nearly every night, offering de Valera, Northern Ireland, if he would just enter the war. Sorry, we have no interest in this arrangement. Level 2, Tenet again. Like I said, I'm not delighted with these, but we're going to go for, I think, the +1 local happiness from watermills, hospitals, and medical labs, because I have been building a few of the first two. And Churchill is at war yet again with Basilbrook. Looks like we can see why he wanted Confucianism adopted as the world religion. I'm not too sure where it was founded. Most likely Belfast. And this is how bad of a scenario they're in. They've had to shove out and found Newtown Abbey way over here. And it looks like we're witnessing an attack on Belfast by Britain. And Daniel O'Connell wants to get an open border the way he can get through and watch the show. So there's the British cannons firing into Belfast, and we can see this because we have a diplomat there who will probably be moving quite shortly to another capital somewhere in the world. We're up to 5 delegates. Churchill is up to 9. He's going for cultural heritage sites. I think a few people are supportive of the international games, so we'll commit all our delegates to that. I got 1 extra by swaying a city-state. I should have swayed, and I was on the verge of swaying another one. With 2 cannons now arrayed around Belfast, I'd say it's fair to say it's going to fall on this turn, even though it's going to be a tough assault by the 2 troops. The World Congress, however, has passed the vote for the international games, and the cultural heritage site has failed. So this time, in Dublin, I'm going to dedicate my production to the international games. And also in Kilkenny. And you know what? Will we go for Limerick as well? We might as well. And with the way things are going at the moment, I am seriously thinking of either building the Manhattan Project to drop bombs on Great Britain, or diverting towards the Apollo program. I think we have a good chunk of science and production. I think we could build the Apollo program if we had to. So I'm entirely thinking we'll start the process of heading in that direction anyway. World ideology. So we're going to suggest freedom. Now the problem, of course, is that it's also going to strengthen the hand of Great Britain, so it's not really going to do anything massive. Basilbrook with 7 city-state, or 7 delegates, is about to be basically wiped off the map. Speaking of, there go the walls, and there goes Belfast. Our spy has fled the city. I didn't realise that he was under threat of being captured. But this is a great day. This is a great day for Ireland. We have been denounced by the United States of America for our proposal at the next meeting of the World Congress. That's fantastic, because that's going to give us an extra diplomat, or an extra delegate. Fleeing the fall of Belfast, Sean, our longest-standing diplomat, will be sent to Cork, the capital of Daniel O'Connell's Ireland. So he denounced me. He wants citrus. Give me gems. He usually refuses. Unacceptable. What'll make it work? Go way out of that. And here's something that will help us greatly. Media culture. 34% tourism generated by cities with a broadcast tower. I'll take this for now, but we could very well keep going until we get the space procurements. Because it's entirely possible that I will need those. Now we've jumped from 80 something up to 102. There's a proposal to ban gems at the next meeting of Congress, and I'm actually going to get William of Orange, who has recently become influenced by Irish culture. I don't want those horses. Ban gems. Because that's what the United States has. He won't accept that. Want to make it work. Okay, sure, whatever. Another expansion of the World Congress occurs as the world has entered the modern era. And tragedy of tragedies. After leading the World Council for 6 sessions, Dublin has been ousted by Great Britain. There was 11 for Great Britain, 10 for Northern Ireland, 7, so I think everyone just voted for themselves. Great, fantastic. JFK is in the atomic era, that's not good. Michael Collins, give me ivory. Thank you. Ireland has constructed New Schwanstein. I would rather have done this in Limerick, but we didn't have the mountains. So we get some extra gold, culture and happiness from every castle. So I might actually need to start building more castles. So we've that completed, but most importantly, we have won the International Games 2700 production. Michael Collins was second with 1090. I thought Kennedy would have been up there. So the fact that Kennedy didn't put together a huge amount of production, now maybe he just didn't want to waste it. I am worried about the fact that he's in the atomic age. I think we could still win a science victory, because I'm not too sure we're going to be able to get all of the civilizations. I think one of them is going to get wiped out, but the US I don't think is going to open its doors for us. Basilbrook, the poor man, had other things to focus on. And that now basically gives us a free tenet. And I'm going to use it on level 1 freedom for local happiness from Mint, Bank and Stock Exchange. Because excess happiness feeds over into culture. Not by much. I was going to say there's another explanation for why Churchill is so far ahead at the moment, but of course a lot of those wonders would probably have come from this poor lad. William of Orange has built no wonders whatsoever. Churchill has declared war on Basilbrook again, so Lisburn is gonna fall. Which will make the job easier and not easier of spreading our culture. I don't think we're actually close to getting into Northern Ireland. It would have probably been the next one. Well now, Michael Collins says, it is strange that both you and Great Britain wish to make enemies of me. It's you and Great Britain that are teaming up together. Well, let it be, and the reason for this is because he has adopted autocracy as his ideology. How typical of Michael Collins. Oh dear God, look at him now. Winston Churchill with 18 delegates, 9 from city-states, 2 from following the world religion, you crafty divil. We have a grand total of 6. This lad is still holding on with 7. He's looking to ban luxury gems. I'm trying to introduce freedom as the world ideology, which is going to make a lot of people angry. Oh, you crafty divil. JFK, you got so many gems. Why don't you give some of them to me for some citrus? Unacceptable. Oh well. A great artist has been born in Limerick, and what timing it is, because from what I can see, Northern Ireland is no longer on the table. Lisburn has fallen. And De Goya will almost have the honour of being the first person. He'll have the honour of being the first person to take the train from Kilkenny to Dublin, not from Limerick to Dublin. I won't lie, I'm a bit surprised. Another golden age has dawned. I won't complain, just as Hanoi sends us not a caravan, but a Gatling gun. Thanks for that. I think we're going to commit our 7 delegates to supporting freedom as the world ideology. This lad's going to ban the living hell out of gems. Ormus, now is a bad time to desire gems. Now is a very bad time to desire gems. Great Britain put 8 of its votes towards that. 3 nay from America, 3 nay from the Protectorate and from Ireland. 10 yay from Great Britain, Ireland, and the Anglo-Dutch. They were the supporters of the freedom ideology. We're still in a position to propose resolutions. We'll go with cultural heritage to make America grateful. Make America grateful again. And Great Britain, keep the 2 of them on side. 20! Oh yeah, that's right, I voted for this. I voted to give you 20 delegates. So he has 2 from following the world ideology, as do we, which brings us up to 9. It's 1966, the end of Éamon de Valera's first term as president, the 50th anniversary of the 1916 Rising. Oh dear God, Kennedy has the bomb. So you can see in all of my cities at the moment that we have a bit of a science push going on. Every single one of them is producing science. So I've returned to rationalism. I got humanism, which increases the rate at which great scientists are earned. Now that really only impacts Dublin. But I'm going to go for this one. +1 science for every trading post. And 17% extra from universities. I've started building a ton of trading posts. And as we continue building our trading posts, the world is at war again. Churchill has declared war on William of Orange. Johannes Kepler has been born in Dublin, as we're told that Michael Collins is plotting a sneak attack against William of Orange. I'm going to have this guy discover technology, help us to push through, because I actually really want the airports. 50% of culture from world wonders, natural wonders and improvements, landmarks, added to tourism, so we don't get a huge amount from that. Unless the world wonders are the buildings, because then we get a ton. I can't remember, but what I do know is that we're going to gift some troops to Jerusalem, because they want them for some reason. And so a lovely quote from Jonathan Swift ushers us into...
This is one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind.
The atomic era. With the might of our economy, I'm simply going to purchase Dublin Airport. The Hague is under attack from British forces. Substantial amount of British forces. They have an artist in there. Well, in the midst of war, somebody has just created a piece of art in The Hague. And I think we'll get the jump on the fall of The Hague and move our diplomat to Birmingham. And following the arrival of Great Britain into the atomic era, the World Congress has become the United Nations, opening up the possibility of a diplomatic victory. Churchill now has 24 delegates. Daniel O'Connell, after all I've done for you, after all the marble I traded you to try and fix your house, denounces me, giving me an extra delegate at the United Nations. Thanks for that. You'll pay for this in time. Things are becoming very worrying. Because John F. Kennedy has just entered the information age. We can get a new social policy, increase gold from science buildings, research from research agreements. I like the sound of them, but what I think we're going to have to do is go for landmarks and great person improvements. That's not going to do a whole heap. I think we might possibly get 5 extra science. And we're going to have to push for that tenet that will speed up the rate at which we build the space project. I think we have to put a man on the moon. Especially as Michael Collins has decided to go to war with William of Orange, and I'm surprised that The Hague still stands. The world is again about to be cast into a cataclysmic war. The Hague is already in the middle of a cataclysmic war, but John F. Kennedy is plotting to invade Ireland. And I believe that Churchill is plotting to attack Oliver Cromwell. And our defences have not been improved in quite a while. We're actually about to get a great engineer built in Dublin, and we already have one waiting in Limerick. It's a pity, after all the amount of time and effort that we've put into culture. But the United States is a tough nut to crack. Now, we could get hotels to add more to our tourism modifier, but I'm getting a bit worried about both the United States and the United Kingdom. We'll begin the Apollo program in Dublin. And indeed, as a result of the various denunciations that have been made against us, and a massive expenditure buying the loyalty of city-states, especially ones that were loyal to Churchill, we have managed to become the new world leader in terms of delegates. He wants to ban crabs. No, we'll stick with our own policy. And 1 for banning crabs. Well, The Hague has finally fallen, but it hasn't fallen to Churchill. It has fallen to Michael Collins. Ban crabs fails even with all our support. And cultural sites have passed. Oliver Cromwell, who is giving us a delegate on the World Council, wants to know what we want. We want to make a joint declaration of denunciation. So we got some trade routes going in that direction. Hopefully they will help. I'm also bringing members of Oglig Naharan over to defend the border, just in case he gets any ideas. We're going to start driving caravans. We're already sending a good chunk of them across into London and Budapest. On the next turn, we will have access to the hotel, which is going to greatly increase our tourism. Now in Dublin, I'm simply going to purchase a hotel. That's put us up nearly 40 points on tourism. It's very appropriate of Éamon de Valera to jump back and forth between plans, and to never settle on anything, and to change his mind at the drop of a hat and say that that was always his intention. We're going to build a stadium. And we're going to build, or we're going to use, our engineer to build it immediately. William of Orange, the poor man, comes to us looking for incense. We'll give it to him, because JFK and Daniel O'Connell have just declared war on him as he makes peace with Michael Collins. Hanoi has just sent us a rocket launcher. They love sending troops to us. On a visit to London, I was told by Oliver Cromwell that my army is considered to be a laughingstock. So I have started producing armories and military academies, and we're going to have to start building something vaguely resembling an army. I'm flip-flopping again on our space program because Churchill is putting himself forward and nominating himself as the world leader. And he has a huge amount of culture to try and chip through. I think we're only halfways there. So we could go for gold from science buildings. That's not going to help us all that much. We're going to buy spaceship parts with gold. And in Dublin, we're going to change to the Apollo program. So here it is, enact world leader. And I think we'll vote for ourselves. I don't think anybody else is going to. Churchill wants to go to war with Oliver Cromwell. Sorry, we have no interest in this agreement. Because we need people that we can denounce and that will denounce us. For the culture that I don't care about anymore. It looks as though William of Orange is gone. He hasn't been divided up between the United States and Daniel O'Connell, because Daniel O'Connell got nothing. So no nation was able to gain 39 votes. Ireland led with 24. And what timing! The United States has replaced its ideology with freedom, which means it's now more favourable to us. The two Irelands will fall shortly. We're rising very heavily with the United States of America now. But that's going to take a good chunk to get through for Great Britain. So we have begun the space race. The problem is that we don't actually have access to any of what needs to be built at the moment. Well, what a crazy state of affairs has broken out in this side of the world. Michael Collins has declared war on Daniel O'Connell. UN is in session. We're able to mobilise 26 votes against the 22 of Churchill. 25 in favour of historical landmarks. 1 in favour of banning crabs. As if things weren't bad enough for Daniel O'Connell, Kennedy has declared war on him. And Lord Michael Collins has started listening to Irish blue jeans and wearing Irish pop music. Caravaggio has just been born in County Limerick. I did a video on a lost Caravaggio. And its links to Michael Collins and Tom Clark and the Irish War of Independence. Landmarks was passed, which I think has increased our tourism by a small bit. We're building momentum, but it's still going to take a while to cut through that. Maybe a bit too late. I've got it into my head to use our missionaries. Well, I won't say our missionaries. But missionaries from Kilkenny to spread Confucianism to Dublin. It's at 7 at the moment, because if we can get a shared religion with Britain, then our culture will spread faster. Lyndon B. Johnson with his satellites.
Welcome to the future.
Ushers Ireland into the information age. And I didn't quite realise, because we're in the information age, our scout has nowhere else to scout. I am very surprised that they survived until the very end. We will bring them back to Dublin for a very well-deserved retirement. Oh, hell's bells. After thousands of years, our scouts, the retirement that I promised them, Michael Collins has failed to protect Irish scouts. The absolute divils, my poor scouts. The one and only place on earth a barbarian camp could form. The IRA will have its revenge. So in the year of our Lord, 2016, the 100th anniversary of the 1916 Rising, I have managed to change the Irish religion to Confucianism, so we now have the same religion as Great Britain. However, it's going to be 84 turns before we are influential. And I think we have, 34 turns left? 64 before we're influential in the United States. We're influential in Ireland. It's going to even be 48 before Daniel O'Connell adopts our religion. So yeah, it does most certainly look like we have failed with the culture victory. And I absolutely slept horribly on using faith to purchase great writers and mostly great writers, because I have a lot of writing slots which are empty. And yeah, our only hope now is in the stars, and Churchill has completed the Apollo program. We're told the terrible news that Nina has been captured by the United States. They continue to push on Cork, and it's only a matter of time before it falls. A section of Óglaigh na hÉireann has arrived to do battle with the barbarians in revenge for the defeat of our scout. In the session of the United Nations, it's a 26-26 draw between Éamon de Valera and Winston Churchill. We will, as always, nominate ourselves. I don't think we'll even have enough turns to complete it. I think we have about 30 turns left, but we will, as there has been a failure to elect a new world leader, we might as well go with the International Space Station. Now, the problem is that we're not going to be able to dedicate enough production to it because we're dedicating it to something else. But you know what? We'll stick it up, and it might distract our enemies, if nothing else. For some reason, I've been having absolutely terrible trouble trying to get Alexander Graham Bell into the centre of Dublin. I don't think I could actually find it. With the last couple of turns, a great engineer generated actually in Kilkenny, and I'm hoping to try and get him to speed up the production of the Hubble telescope. What a brave fight the men of Cork have put up over the last while. I think they've managed to push back the Americans, but now Michael Collins is bombing the capital. So I've managed to get the Hubble telescope built. I got 2 scientists, and then I got another one, and used them to research a ton of things, but it is crystal clear that we are going to fail, and fail worse than we will on culture. We have a ton of things to research before we get particle physics and the SS engine. And we still don't have the stasis chamber, so we are not going to space. Instead, all we can do now is sit back, watch the time count down for the last couple of years, and thank the gods that at least we're not in Cork, which is about to fall to the Americans. And while we never actually got to see them in a pitched battle against another nation, the boys of the old brigade have done themselves proud, winning a decisive victory over the barbarians who killed our scout. All the ways from Limerick, we've managed to deliver the SS cockpit of our failed space program. I think the next part costs 3,000, and I could buy that instantaneously, but like I said, there's not really much of a point wasting our money. I might try and use it to tempt some city-states away from Great Britain. That's really all we can do. And now Ireland briefly stands as the most delegated nation in the world. Churchill, the Divil. It's only ever been the two of us that have held the top 2 positions. Churchill, the Divil, wants to remove arts funding because he's going for the science program. I'm going to... We'll give him a few no's on that one. We'll give him 15 no's on that one. And we'll dump the rest into trying to enact the space pro. I don't care about any of these. And there we go, we're told that repeal of arts funding has failed. It got 2 nays from a different Ireland, and it was supported by the Protectorate. Great Britain didn't put a lot of support into it. They were more determined that the International Space Station would be passed. Over in Limerick, where we could get the SS booster built in 12 turns, we'll take a look at the International Space Station. The winner will get the Space Station Wonder, increased production from scientists, and increased science from engineers. We might as well put Limerick working on that for the fun of it. And because we're getting close to the end, we're going to take the dramatic decision to publicly denounce Michael Collins and his stance on the Anglo-Irish Treaty. Our culture total has just jumped by almost 100, from 738 to 827 per turn. I most certainly am not generating anywhere near enough culture to win a culture victory. Possibly I should have been a bit more aggressive in denouncing my neighbours and denouncing Michael Collins. Maybe that's where Éamon de Valera's path to victory was. And if trade and denunciations were the right path, then if we look at commerce, +2 gold from all land trade routes. So if we're trading with people that we're denouncing, we would be generating extra culture. A bit late. We're going to go for commerce. And to make things worse, we're looking at 18 turns until we're influential in what remains of Ireland, 22 turns before we're influential in the United States of America, both of which can be done before 2050, 93 turns until we are influential in Great Britain. I think this is a fairly historically accurate end to this playthrough. We have been denounced by Michael Collins. Well, 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 what a time to hit a golden age. I had 754 culture per turn at the end of the last turn, and I denounced our good friend Oliver Cromwell, and that has driven me up to 1,100 now. I know a chunk of that is coming from the golden age, 184, but that still represents nearly a 200 point increase if it was from the denunciation. Does anybody here like me? The only 2 people here who would vote for me, possibly, are Kennedy and Churchill. It looks like Daniel O'Connell has gone to his eternal reward, gone away off to Rome for himself. We're going to send our good friend Frank Aiken to the United Nations to propose nuclear non-proliferation. We have a significant British army on our border. I think Michael Collins and the United States are both preparing a sneak attack against each other, so I'm not too sure what direction the British are going in. I think they're upset with Collins. But if they were to be plotting against us, my god, look at these outdated Irish cavalry, and we still got some longswordmen. My belief has always been that with our superior production and our vast financial resources, we're kitted to the max on barracks and academies, that we'd be able to basically buy enough of an army immediately to begin developing an army to defend the place. Pretty much a real Irish defence policy. Look, it's fine, it's grand. Sure, you know yourself. There we go. Churchill is upset with Collins, just as Oliver Cromwell has declared war on John F. Kennedy. That was a bad move. Well, we've kind of managed to win a space victory of sorts. And I'm afraid to say that is where I am going to have to leave the story of Éamon de Valera for today, because the game has started to crash repeatedly. And I'm actually surprised it made it this far, considering there are 8 modded empires in the game. So we've been cast back a few years to just as our golden age was starting, I've had great fun with this. This has been Hoop Throwers, Éamon de Valera mod for Civilization 5. There's a full list of all the mods that I used below in the description. A really interesting mechanic. Denouncing nations to trade with them. One that I didn't utilise fully, I don't think. So I basically forgot to keep going back to the Protectorate and denouncing them, but I really should have been denouncing Michael Collins from the start. And, oh yeah, it was Northern Ireland I was denouncing. But looking back over it, and taking into consideration there with the policies, that idea that I came up with, that basically I should have focused on trade. Even before I realised that, I still think that what killed me, what held back Éamon de Valera's righteous victory, was the lack of a port city. Because the trade routes never allowed me to get into the territory of Daniel O'Connell or the United States. So even when I had the trade route in Dublin, when all my trade routes were based out of Dublin with the caravanserai, I still couldn't reach that far. I needed naval trade routes to get into those areas and to get to Britain earlier. Britain just got an overwhelming lead in terms of culture, in terms of a couple of buildings. I'd be interested to see what... because I didn't actually check, I just went on and found all these mods and added them all for the fun of it. I have no idea what Churchill's abilities are, or what the abilities of any of these people are. I just added them to make a villains gallery for Éamon de Valera. A strange and interesting and eclectic mix of people. There was Brian Brew there, but that mod, I believe, hasn't been working for a while. But there you go, there's been Éamon de Valera in the world of Civilization 5, through the help of some mods. I don't think he can complain. It's a pretty realistic playthrough to real life. We've tons of citrus and tons of uranium, just like the real Ireland. I think Éamon de Valera should be pretty happy. So this is part of a series, Gaming de Valera, in which I look at Éamon de Valera in a couple of video games for the 50th anniversary, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of his death. Over on The Irish Nation Lives, I have a video on the economic war. And I'm making another shorter episode at the moment on the economics of the economic war, which is going to inform some of the next Gaming de Valera video that I do, which will be Éamon de Valera in Kaiserreich. And I think most of the series is going to be Éamon de Valera in Kaiserreich. I think the lack of a port city is what held me back. What would you have done differently if you had taken command of Éamon de Valera and tried to establish a path to freedom for Ireland? Thank you very much for joining me on this episode, and I hope to see you again in future if you ever need some oranges.